Oh yeah, it's your boy Livewire, and I'm back in the motherfucking building, baby. Had some time off today, trying to get some stuff done, and I said, "Fuck it, let me, jump on here, 30 minutes, and just kind of talk about some shit that people have been talking about for the last couple of weeks." But at this point, it's just getting fucking ridiculous. And what I'm talking about is this whole talk of checkerboard being on the Xbox One X. People keep on, well, not all people. We know who these people are. But there are people, individuals, that keep on trying to compare Xbox One X's checkerboarding option to what the PS4 Pro is doing. And for the most part, everybody who's in the know, anybody who's knowledgeable, know there's a big fucking difference. There just is. As far as with the Xbox One X, they always said that they were going to give tools to developers. They weren't going to limit developers to what they could do. Now, the thing is checkerboarding native ideal? Sure. It sure is ideal sometimes, but it depends on what that dev team feels comfortable with. I put it this way. For most of my editing software, I use Adobe Premiere, right? If I'm dealing with a video editing software. But guess what? Some people might not feel comfortable using Adobe for whatever reason. Some people might want to use something a lot simpler to them, which could be Movie Maker or damn, what the fuck is the other there's a whole bunch of fucking different movie apps, but you know what I mean. They could use something else, right? There's options. So Microsoft is just saying, like, I'm not going to force you to only use this particular tool. Look, you get the whole gamut of everything you need in order to make your game. We're not going to limit you to just doing 4K, right? Because it depends on what the developer wants to do with that game. It really does. Maybe the highest resolution isn't necessary for their visuals to pop in their game. Maybe that's not what they're focusing on. Maybe they want to focus on atmosphere more than resolution, which is fine. Resolution to me should be one of the last things that you really focus on anyway. It should always be about how the game feels, how it runs, and then working on that resolution last. Because we have had games this generation that are 720p that look a lot better than games that are 1080p. That's just a fact. So resolution should have never been a focus, but now that it is, and some people in the gaming world, some of these diehard, I would just call them Xbox haters, want to focus on the checkerboarding for Microsoft. Now, let's understand this. All checkerboarding isn't created equal. It is not. For one, you're talking about checkerboarding from where? PlayStation most times checkerboards from 1440p, whereas Xbox can use checkerboarding from 1800 whatever, or fucking damn near 21. Like, it has options. That's the biggest difference that I think some of these guys, I don't even think they don't know. I just think they want to ignore it. It's easier to say that they're the same because of checkerboarding and ignore the fact that one has better textures, better settings. Because the thing is, checkerboarding at fucking medium settings is not the same thing as checkerboarding at ultra settings. It just isn't. Like, anybody telling you that it is the same is a fucking liar. Because that would be, to me, would be equating like 2 7-footers in the NBA, but like, oh, well, Shaq is 7'2", and fucking, I don't know, some from what was that guy's name? Not Kwame Brown. What the fuck was that guy's? Andrew Bynum was like the same height. So you're gonna say because they're both the same height that Andrew Bynum and Shaq were equally the same player? Fuck out of here. There's no way. Shaq would dominate that motherfucker all day, every day. He was a better player. even though they were the same height. To me, that's the same thing as saying that checkerboarding on PS4 Pro is the same as checkerboarding on Xbox One X. Just because they're checkerboarding doesn't mean they're doing the same things. You know, you can't even equate. One, they don't have super sampling. They don't have textures on the fucking Pro. The Pro is missing a lot of shit. You can't run fucking games faster. You can't, you know, adjust games to run better on your console. We already know that for the simple fact that there's games that run worse on the Pro than they do on the original PS4. It's just these consoles aren't even in the same league. So for the simple fact that there are people trying to say, you know, oh, it's just as good, are fucking just straight up lying. Like even when that guy on Digital Foundry said, oh, well, you know, Xbox, we see it doing for checkerboarding now. I'm just sitting there like, yo, one, you're talking about checkerboarding versus the Pro that's been out for a fucking year almost versus a console that hasn't even launched yet. So we don't even know, you know, what they're going to do with the final versions of any of these games. And then you have certain games like Assassin's Creed where they checkerboard, period. So it's like, you don't bring up that fact. You just say, oh, well, you know, it's checkerboarding. But Ubisoft usually checkerboards most of their games or all of their games. Oh, well, you know, we're not going to talk about that. Like, what the fuck? Like, that is a legitimate reason why the shit would be checkerboard. If they checkerboard all their fucking games, then why would it be different on Xbox One X? Like, they would just have everything checkerboarded across the board, including on PC, and then just be like, fuck it, we're going to make it 4K native on the One X. I just don't, you know, that shit doesn't even make any sense. And then have the balls to complain about some shit like that without even bringing the full facts. Like these people out here walking around with half truths in here. You know, it's fine, I guess. You know, you gotta try to skew shit to fit your agenda, but man, let's be honest. Like, come on, people. You know, we're not talking even the same, you know, like bracket right here. Like this is what I equate fucking Xbox and PS4 Pro. This is like, you know, PS4 and Xbox One X, they're like neighbors. They live on the same block, right? And everybody's house on the block is about the same price. Say it's about $500,000, right? We'll go about that, $500,000, right? But the difference is just because I live in a $500,000 house and you live in a $500,000 house, that don't mean that we both live in the same lifestyle. You know, I could be making a lot more money than you, going on a lot more vacations than you, doing a lot less work to do it. You know, let's be honest. And that's what you're looking at fucking with you know, the PS4 and because it's like say you got this guy who's like lives in a $500,000 house, is an auto mechanic, works fucking almost 20 hours a day, you know, for his own business, right? That's what he does. Works his own business, auto mechanic, but he lives on my block, $500,000. Then I could be some guy who's simply an engineer, makes more money than he does, and only works 8 hours a day. You know, I'm not working, you know, my life is a lot easier. Even though we both own the same house, basically the same price house, we live on the same block, but he works way more than I do, way harder than I do in order to afford to live where he's living. Yeah, I'm living better than him. And, you know, and it's not to say that I'm better, or, you know, than that guy. It's just saying, look, man, the way in which we got to where we are is just different. I had an easier road based on what my career was. He didn't, you know? So therefore I have a little bit more freedom. I can go on a vacation and do like, you know, do all that crazy shit. He can't. He doesn't have that freedom to do that. So it's the same thing. It's like with the whole checkerboarding, you got to remember PS4, that's its option to do 4K. Xbox ain't got to do that. They could do native if they want to. You know, that's a big fucking difference. There's a difference between having to do something and choosing to do something. It's a big fucking difference. You know, and I think that's at times get lost in this whole, you know, checkerboarding and blase blah. You know, because look, man, I'll take checkerboarding all day, every day, as long as the features that I'm getting are of a higher quality. And that's all you're seeing when people doing checkerboarding. That, to be honest, that's all you're really seeing. You know, when they say, "Oh, we're doing checkerboarding," that's because we have the 4K textures. You got the ultra settings. You're getting all this crazy shit that we weren't getting on any console before the X, right? Whereas the Pro is just giving you, you know, resolution. You know, and that's all well and dandy for people that think resolution is good enough. But I mean, let's be honest, you know, you're not really going to see a big difference between what you're going to see on the PS4 and PS4 Pro, you know. And if people think that's a fucking big difference, well, shit, wait until fucking November, because that shit will be fucking mind blowing when you see the difference between the S and the fucking X. That shit will be, well, actually, we don't have to wait that long. I think they're doing a comparison at Gamescom, but y'all know what I mean. Wait until November when you get that bitch in your hands. That shit is going to be a demonstrative difference, man. And it's going to be serious, yo. And there's going to be a lot of salt out here. Not that there already isn't a ton of salt. This shit is fucking seriously heavy with sodium out in these fucking gaming streets, man. You know, but I just find it funny that people conveniently ignore the fact that, you know, that the X is getting 4K textures and higher settings. That shit is crazy, man. You know, I mean, I don't know. The damage control is real. Let's see who's up in here. RG Viper X, what's going on? I think the devs need to try their best to utilize the power of the system they are programming on. Yeah, I say give the devs some time. I mean, shit, they just got the bitch. I mean, I think some people forget, like, even though that they just, you know, people got the console up and running, and I mean their Xbox One X game up and running in a day or a few hours or whatever the fuck, few minutes, whatever it is, right? They still have to fully optimize it. Just because it runs on that console doesn't mean it's going to run its best on that console after just porting it in for 2 weeks. I think that's the other thing that people keep on forgetting. They're looking at, you know, stuff that they put out there for E3, and, you know, the developers felt that what they had on the X, for those that had it running on the X, felt it looked good enough to present. You know, even though the game wasn't done and isn't ready to be done, and it's going to take a little bit longer to optimize, they felt it looked good enough to show on the X. And the thing was, nobody really had complaints about any games. It wasn't until Digital Foundry did their analysis and said Assassin's Creed and Anthem weren't running at 4K native. That's when people came out the woodworks and started talking crazy shit. But prior to, nobody said shit. Now, that my question is why? Because if the game was so shitty, if the game wasn't up to snuff, if the game wasn't on par with what you thought you were getting, why not complain when you saw the motherfucker in the first place? I mean, that, to me, that's a legitimate argument. Like, I didn't look at Anthem when I first saw it and it was like, oh man, this is 4K checker. No, I was looking at that shit like, holy shit, is this real? That's what I said. Holy shit, is this fucking real? And then the fact that Digital Foundry came out and said it was checkerboarding, bitch, it's real. People have completely ignored that fact. The fact that we're seeing a game that looks like that shit is fucking real. I don't give a fuck if it's checkerboarding or not. It's fucking possible. Like, that's the crazy part. Like, it's not a fucking Ubisoft, you know, Watch Dogs look one way and then fucking launches and looks a different way. You know, they was hitting pet cats with the okie doke. It wasn't even like the PC version was getting that shit. That's the crazy part. You'd be like, oh fuck, man. man, the game don't look up to snuff on console. But you know what? Hopefully the PC version looks like that. Nope, not even fucking close. So that's not even what we're getting. We're getting something legit, and people are bitching like about shit that's irrelevant. Like, look at the fucking screen. Like, to me, there's so many examples of trying to compare resolution to other like I had an example on GRG where, you know, my friend has a 1080p TV. I have a 1080p TV, right? Most people have 1080p TVs, right? But not all 1080p TVs are created equal. They're not. You could have a 1080p TV and somebody you know have another one, and the fuck one, you know, the image on one would shit on the other one. Yet they're both 1080p. That's all we're saying, you know, and it's a demonstrative difference between my television, which is older, than my friend's. So more than likely, he's not going to be as eager to upgrade to 4K because his TV is newer, you know, than mine. I think it's like 4 years old or something like that. My shit is like 8, right? But the image quality that he's still receiving is far superior than what I am getting. So it makes sense. You can't say that all resolution is created equal. Oh, it's 1080p, 1080p, checkerboard. No, the shit is different. There's a lot of other factors. You know, you're dealing with hertz. You know, you on a TV that pumps out 120 is not going to be the same as somebody who pumps out 240 or just 60. It's going to be a difference, you know, and the simple fact that these pro games don't even run with solid frame rates, the simple fact that Battlefield 1 with no real enhancements other than resolution still runs sub 60 frames per second is fucking ridiculous on the Pro. How the fuck is a game like Battlefield 1 on the PS4 Pro running at the same frame rate as the fucking Xbox One S? It boggles my mind. You know, you could say it looks better and all that, but my thing is, then that's a fucking compromise. You know, as Xbox was saying, they said there will be no compromises made for the 4K, meaning we're not going to see a dip in performance and quality from the S or the 1 to the X. So there's never going to be a time where you have a game that's supposed to be running at 60 frames per second on the 1, and then somehow because you put in 4K, now it's running at 40, 45, 50, 55. No. What the fuck? Why would I want that shit? Now, what is the point? You know, yeah, you get a bump in resolution, but now I take a hit in my quality. Like, I just think that's asinine. But on to the next one. What's up, Lex, man? What's going on? So you got Rob up in here. What's up, Rob? And neither Xbox or PS4 4K is close to the PC native 4K. Well, I mean, yeah, because the PC could do more. I mean, that's not really a fucking shocker. It depends on how powerful your PC is, you know. Depends on, you know, maybe not the same price point. You're not seeing the same shit. I mean, for PC, because we know for a fact a PC at 500 or 400 ain't going to do what those consoles can do. It just can't. You're going to have to spend some money in order to get it. Even a PC with the same teraflops isn't going to be able to do the same because they got other shit they got to, you know, take care of as far as resources. So, you know, you can't have 6 teraflops on a PC and you know, push out the same game performance as the X. It's just not fucking possible, you know, because devs don't optimize for PC. You know, that's why PC is made the way it is, to make it as powerful as you want. You could just raw horsepower to what you want, but you got to pay for it. That's all. You know, ain't nothing wrong with it, but you got to pay for it. RG Viber has another quote up. I mean, comment up here. When I develop software, I want the best. I don't want the cheap way out. No, I get you. No, that makes, I mean, shit. I mean, You always should have and strive for the best. I think, to be honest, and what we're looking at right now is Microsoft kind of push into the realm of a luxury console. So it's not so much. I mean, yes, it's a hybrid. You know, at some point, this console will be the cheapest console, and then we'll have maybe two other Xboxes that are more powerful than it. You know, but right now, this is the luxury version of a console. It does more than any other console before it that is going to do. You know, and that's the way they wanted to push it. You know, PS4 kept their price point low on the Pro. They tried to go for a minimal upgrade. Xbox just did something different. They felt, you know, we came out with the Elite controller for the premium customer that wanted something more of a luxury item. And you know what? We should also give that person a fucking console to match with it. People also forget that the fucking Xbox One Elite console that came with the Elite controller and the HDD drive and all that shit, that shit was $500. So I don't know how people, you know, thought like that was an Xbox One, no Connect, came with an Elite controller. That shit was $500. I'm just saying. And you're talking about the console we're getting now is way more powerful than any. Well, shit, the S is more powerful than the Elite controller. I mean, the Elite console that came out that was $500, and the fucking X shits on all that. So, you know, this shit is crazy. Stark, what's going on? No shit, Rob, but you are paying a hell of a. Well, yeah, he's just saying the same shit I said. Other Zinc, what's going on? Let's see. Who else is up in here? Y'all having a conversation by yourselves? And Furious One. That's how the Xbox One X dev kit is designed to make the games at the highest spec, then downscale the games. And PC is not necessarily the highest spec. Xbox One X has 12 gigs of RAM, 9 gigs or gaming. And the Xbox One X has 326 gigs of bandwidth. Most PC does not have those specs. That is true. Yeah, we're looking at something beautiful, man. This is a beautiful thing. And I think people out here nitpicking they're in damage control in many ways. I mean, whether they're PC gamers that are in damage control or PlayStation guys. I mean, I get look, if you're a PC gamer, you shouldn't feel any type of way about a console being what it is. Like, the whole point of a console is to make, you know, high quality gaming affordable. That's the whole purpose of it. You know, ever since we started the console is the reason why the arcades aren't as popping as they once were. Because once we started getting arcade graphics in a console, the arcade became irrelevant. Like, why would I go to arcade to go play a game where I could play it at home and it looks just as good, if not better? You know? That's why you look at a lot of these arcade games now, they have novelties to them. They can't just simply be a fucking controller game with good graphics. They got to be something else. You got to, you know, you have to have some kind of special feature. You know, they do a lot more rail shooters. That's the big thing now. I saw the Walking Dead game, and they got the Jurassic Park game. They do a lot of those type of games, like rail shooters and shit like that. Those games look okay, but even with those games looking okay, they don't look as good as console games. I think it's more like, you know, it's the, you know, playing with the gun thing, and that, you know, like that's the big thing with it, you know. Let's see. Did I pass anybody? No. Let me see it. Other Zinc says, why is PS4 Pro $400? Ask Ryan McAfee that. You know what? That's a good question. For the well, I don't have a problem with the price of the PS4 Pro. You know what? Because to be honest, the fucking Xbox One S was $400 with the higher with the bigger hard drive. You know, that was 400, and people went out and bought that shit day one because they couldn't wait. And that shit was like 2 terabytes versus the one I got. I got the 500 gig because I didn't need the fucking 1 terabyte because I already have like five. I got 5 terabytes in my external, so I didn't even fucking need it. You know, but I mean, I think it's a fair price. I just think that it just doesn't do as much as people would want. It's like the Sega fucking CD. It really is. That's all the fucking PS4 Pro is. It's the Sega CD. Yeah, there's no attachment that you got to connect to it, but it's just not really doing much at this moment. You know, and that's what Microsoft really had to figure out. They that's the thing that people kind of ignored. It's like, regardless of if devs do anything to the game, period, it will run best on the X. Regardless, they don't have to patch shit. I have a game like Aliens Isolation will run flawlessly without, you know, the frame rate drops on the X because the hardware takes care of all of that. You know, The Witcher, same thing. Frame rates will be better, resolution will be higher because even though they are doing a 4K patch, if they didn't, the game would still look better. See what I'm saying? It's a you're looking at a big upgrade. Andrew Wilt. He says, "Shut your LeVar Ball looking ass up." But this dude always say I look like somebody. This shit is crazy. Let's see. And Furious One, Xbox One X will do everything better than the Pro, checkerboarding or native 4K. Well, the Pro can't do native 4K, so we can knock that shit out. I mean, not no real native 4K. Like, to me, native 4K is you got to have you got to have 4K textures, or you got to have 4K you know, resolution. And depending on what it is, but you got to have one or both. Like, to me, if you're doing checkerboarding, then you got to have 4K textures, you know, to be considered 4K to be a 4K console. I mean, because otherwise, what's the point? So we know games like Madden are gonna get that. I think games like 2K. I haven't seen 2K on PC, but I heard it looks pretty good. But obviously that would be the best version on the X. So, you know, hey man, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. What's going on? Who's next? Kelvin, what's up? It says folks getting 2160 checkerboarding is true 4K on the Xbox One X. Yeah, man. Like I think that you know, some people just hurt. They're just not. They're not happy with the Pro. I don't even. You know, the funny thing is, I think some of the people that are you know, defending the Pro don't even fucking own it. That's the crazy part. Like, you're defending this thing, you don't even have it in your house. Like, what's the point in that shit? You know, but that's just crazy, man. Now I get you. Yeah, what's going on, Black Line? RG Viper says, I'm not talking bad about Xbox. I'm just saying the developers should try harder. No, I get it. No, I get it. I mean, look, man, I'm not. I agree. I believe that the developers should try harder. But to be honest, Microsoft made it so easy. Like, they basically tried to create this console as a dummy-proof console. Like, they literally took the whole DX12 and put it in the fucking console just so devs can't say it's too hard to you know, program for. And then doing so, it also helps out the S as well. So they don't feel like, oh, I got to do all this extra work. So now their dev kits automatically work to the DX12 that adjust for each of their consoles. The ones that, you know, the X where DX12 is built into it, and the S where where DX12 is a software upgrade. But, you know, They tried to dummy proof it, man, but you're still gonna have people that don't fully utilize the power of the X. So yeah, those games might not look as good as others, but it'll still look better than the pro version of whatever that game is, simply due to the fact, like the only way that the pro version could look better than the Xbox One X version is literally if the fucking dev goes out their way to take shit out. Like they would have to literally go in and be like, no, we're gonna give the pro an advantage. So because they can't even do a frame rate wise, they can't do it. Like if they leave the frame rate as dynamic and then leave the resolution, I mean the resolution as dynamic as well, it's always still going to play better on the fucking X because it just has the better hardware and it automatically adjusts from that hardware. But this is Watch Digital Foundry title 4K. Why Project Scorpio is a good news for. Yeah, I know. I watched their shit about you know the problem with PS4 Pro and wasn't, it's just that, look, man, they basically had to have 2 dev kits in order to to program for that shit. That's the problem. They didn't like Sony. Look. When Sony's king shit right now, right? We all can agree to that. Like, they sold the most consoles, so they feel like they're king shit. So they made this console. They didn't adjust it to make it easiest for devs to program for. They just basically said, we're making this console here. Here's the dev kit for it. You figure it out. Like, basically, that's what they did, right? Now, Microsoft obviously no longer sitting in the driver's seat, can't do that. They don't have 60 million to push in somebody's face and say, do the best on this console. They don't have that ability. So they realized that, and the other thing is they realized with all the hate and backlash they were getting from the media and all that shit, that they had to make this console not only more powerful, but easier to develop for. They had to. It is the no excuse console. Like, there's no excuse for your games not to be able to run best on this console. No excuses. They took all the hard work of dealing with, optimizing your games for the console out of it. All of that extra time that they would spend on fucking just getting the game to run on the box, they took that shit out of it. So, at this point, there are no excuses for devs. They took all that shit out. Sony didn't do the same. So therefore, devs got frustrated with it. They already did the work that they had to do for the PS4, and now you're telling them to do it for the Pro. And some just didn't even fucking try. They just said, fuck it, man. It is what it is. Most of these people ain't going to buy it on the Pro anyway. That's what they looked at. They're like, most of these people ain't going to buy this shit on the Pro anyway. So if they do anything, they just bump up the resolution. Simple. Nothing else they got to really do, right? Don't have to worry about all these headaches with trying to deal with settings. Now, games that didn't do incredibly well, like Tomb Raider, decided to fucking try to do the best that they could for the PS4 Pro because they were trying to, redo a launch onto the PlayStation 4. Still didn't sell well over there. Sold better on Xbox, unfortunately, even though Xbox had the smaller install base, which is, it is what it is. But they did put a lot of work into their PS4 version for the Pro in order to make it, run best over there. I mean, it is stronger hardware, but you're not going to see too much of that. And even with that being said, still they didn't have all the bells and whistles that you would see in a 1X version of fucking Tomb Raider. So it's just a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit. It's not one little thing that's causing the Pro its issues. It's a lot of shit. But I think the biggest issue it has is just a pain in the ass to develop for more than anything. And you already got all those PS4s out there. People just don't give a fuck. All right. So what's up with the so-called Anthem gameplay on PS4 Pro? I didn't really look at it. I I didn't really look at it. I know people said it was like, basically stolen footage because it's basically the same footage that was used on the X. It's not like it was different. So I don't know. Obviously, it's not going to look like that the same for the Pro as it's going to for the X. But I mean, I don't think it's going to look like complete dog shit. But the thing is like, people have said, and I've heard a lot of PlayStation guys say, well, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still getting that game. And you know what? You're right. You're still getting the game. You're not losing anything. They're not taking anything out. The game is still the same. Is it as pretty as the Xbox One X version? No. It'll be like looking at the fucking PS3 versus the PS4. You're going to be losing some shit. But look, if you're still happy playing on the PS3, then what can I tell you? I mean, I can tell you it looks better on the PS4, but if you think the PS3 is still good enough, then that's up to you. But those videos will come out soon where you see the comparisons, and then it's up to you to make that decision. Let's see. Black Line. Sony's using Xbox One X Anthem gameplay trailer. Yeah, they're not gonna get called out on it. Only Xbox. Like if that was Xbox doing that shit, they get called to the carpet, like they did with the Witcher shit. But if it's Sony, they don't give a fuck. They just let them do what they want. Let's see. J1TM, what's going on? Yo, DJ Singh, what's up? I have lost $250 on PS hack attack in 2011 on PS3. I ain't going near that bitch. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. That's unfortunate. You gotta get the that's why people buy those PlayStation points or the PS4 card or whatever you call that shit. Because everybody knows that network is dangerous. Let's see. Furious One, the Xbox One X has indies that look graphically better than anything Sony showed at E3, including God of War first party. It depends. Depends on what you want. Like, if you're a God of War fan, then there's nothing that looks better than God of War. I mean, but that's if you're a God of War fan. Obviously, Anthem and Metro were the best looking games. Anthem, Metro, Assassin's Creed, and Forza 7 were the best looking games graphically at the conference. On console, I didn't look at the PC shit, so I don't know what the fuck But I don't know. I've looked at PC conference before, and I've never seen anything that looks graphically impressive there, for whatever reason. Or if it is there graphically impressive, it's like a multi-plat that you already see that looks graphically impressive on console. So, but yeah, I would say Ashen was extremely impressive. Last night, that game looks tough as hell. I'm really interested in that, and that's like the crazy thing is not. It's a 8-bit game with like I don't like they just have like crazy fucking graphical settings on there for 8-bit games, so they're able to do a whole lot. My question is it going to look just as good, even though because it's 8-bit, so I'm assuming it could look close to being just as good on the 1S, but I know it also said that game had Xbox One X enhancements, so that's the other thing. Like, so it might not look that good, because of the One X enhancements. But yeah, I can't wait. That shit looks hot. He said, J1TM. I just want to see the raps I got so far. I don't know what that means exactly. But okay. What does it say? Black Lizard. It said Bandicoot no longer a Sony exclusive. What has it been a Sony exclusive for a while? Because I remember playing Crash Bandicoot on the 360. I was never a fan of it back then. Crash Bandicoot was like whatever to me. Like I never like to me that's not even I don't know. I just never was a Crash Bandicoot fan. I thought it was okay at best. It was nowhere near as good as fucking Mario or Sonic. Like not even the same breath. And like from what I'm hearing from what a lot of people played at E3, they said Super Lucky Tail shitted all over that game, Crash Bandicoot. So, hey. So I'm not even worried about that game. I know it's like out now, so people are playing it because it's it's nostalgia. And you're like, oh, I played, but you know what? I was never into that game, so I just don't care. Let's see. Other Zynga. I'm glad you guys see Uncharted, The Last of Us, Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, and God of War are the same games. Yeah, I put up a fucking tweet because a lot of people put up, they were talking about how those games look the same because of all the trees and all that shit. So I put up a tweet saying like, oh shit, with a fucking walking tree, it was like a tree man. And it's like PlayStation gamers get exactly what they want because it's just like fuck the characters. That's not what they want. They just want these goddamn trees. So how about play as a fucking tree like that? I was talking to K Megan and all day about that shit yesterday. I was like, yo, I'm gonna fucking put a tweet up. Yeah, man, that shit's crazy though. Let's see. Let's see. Crash Bandicoot is trash. That's other thing. I heard it wasn't great. I heard that they said that the gameplay is just dated. Like they didn't update it enough. Unfortunately, man. Yo, but I'm gonna get up, man. I know Moochie Crap about to start. I just wanted to pop in here and give y'all a little something to listen to, before they get their show going. But yo, it was fun, man, hanging out with y'all, just talking about some real shit gaming, man. That's what's up, man. But this is your boy Live Wire. Shout out to everybody, man. Have a great holiday, 4th of July. If y'all going to work tomorrow, like myself, hopefully it's easy. And if you're not, you lucky motherfuckers, well, enjoy being at home for the next couple of days while you're on vacation. But that's what's up. But anyway, this is your boy Live Wire. I'm out this bitch, baby. Peace.